Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
So good.
Happy New Year! Happy New Year! Happy New Year! Oh man, what is up, y'all? A lot to talk about tonight. Now, a little bit of housekeeping. I know last week we talked a lot about it being the last AfterBuzz of the year and blah blah blah, and we all shared our feelings and it was all great. But nobody said no takebacks, so here we are tonight. The lovely Johnny LaQuasto's out of town, the lovely Kathy Kelly's out of town, but the lovely Ty Matthews is in town, so that means the final Raw gets a final AfterBuzz of 2015.
As it deserves,
absolutely,
man. It deserves
absolutely. Now, obviously, as you guys hear, we've got Motorhead playing, the phenomenal Motorhead.
Keep that going.
Hate to start things on a down note, but just a little bit before Raw went on the air, we found out that Lemmy Kilmister, lead singer of Motorhead, has passed away at the age of 70. They say it was a very short battle with an extremely aggressive form of cancer. So obviously we're all pretty, shaken up by that. We're all huge fans of metal and of Motorhead and obviously of Lemmy's contributions to pro wrestling. So we just want to send our condolences to the friends and family of Lemmy. But in the spirit of metal and in the spirit of pro wrestling, we will get this show on the road.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Ty. That was good.
Did you guys? I mean, I'm still processing it a little bit.
We haven't had a chance to really process
it. Right,
it
exactly. But moving on, we will get to more of that a little later. I am Ty Matthews, leading a Raw AfterBuzz for the very first time. I'm happy to have my good friends here with me. You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram at Ty Matthews PMA, and to my left, one of the best managers and best ring announcers in this business right now. Very, very good friend of mine, my former roommate, the charismatic one himself, Christian Cole.
Hello, everybody in AfterBuzz world on YouTube and around the world on Twitter. I think today was an awesome show, and I think we're going to have a lot to talk about, so I'm excited to be here on the last Raw of 2015.
Where can people find you on social media?
On social media, it's just search Christian Cole, and I'm there on Instagram, all that good stuff. And I'm on Paragon Pro Wrestling as well. Which
Absolutely.
We're very proud of what we're doing there on that show. Formerly on Pop TV, there was a controversy with TNA, yada yada. We're now on Tough TV Fight Network and on Dish Network with Paragon Pro Wrestling. So
there you go. And between Christian and Michael and Adam, the Cole wrestling family
it's a dynasty.
As the Andersons.
It is a dynasty.
That's right.
Two Christians left. We've got my fellow straight edge writer. You can find his words on SB Nation. The beautiful Bill Hanstock.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
So I'm the only curved-edged person here.
It's okay. We're not that kind of straight-edge person where we think we're better than you.
Exactly. Honestly, too, this dude is like my favorite straight-edge guy I've ever met in my life. So
good company.
Yeah.
You can follow me on Twitter at Sundown Motel. Check us out at cagesideseats.com, sbnation.com/wrestling. Lots of good stuff for you to check out.
Definitely. So Raw comes to us live from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, one of our absolute favorite venues. Sold out crowd of 15,695 people. And we've got, first of all, we've got Tony Chimmel.
What were the two middle numbers on there?
15,600, so 69.
Nice.
Hey.
Happy New Year.
Boom.
Happy New Year.
Boom.
Happy New Year.
Oh, kicking it off with some dick jokes. We're starting off with Tony Chimmel. First of all, Lillian Garcia had lost her voice, so we have no Lillian, but we've got Tony Chimmel. Only makes me wish that Edge was around so we could hear a little bit of Superstar. But we've got Tony Chimmel, and we've got him announcing the boss, Vince McMahon. He says Vince comes out. He says he's out here to settle a score. First of all, he says he had to have dental surgery last week after receiving a Superman punch to the mouth. Roman Reigns' favorite place to punch people.
Yes.
Well, there was a chance he was going to have that dental surgery anyway.
That's also true. So he calls Roman Reigns out, and he says, "You know what? My son-in-law will exact revenge. You disrespected me. You disrespected my family. You turned your back on my daughter. Nobody does that. Nobody disrespects a McMahon." And of course, we've got a rowdy crowd in Brooklyn. We've got a rowdy New York crowd. Roman gets a little sassy. Says, "You better speak up, old man." And I like the chemistry that they've got. For one, let's start with that. Let's start with the chemistry between the handsome prince, Roman Reigns, and the boss.
I want to back up just a smidge and just say that anytime that that music starts and it builds, and then McMahon's coming out, you're about to see something. Really, I mean, this could be the end of the McMahon days over this next 4 or 5 years. I expect him to completely be phased off TV, maybe sooner.
Right.
So I knew we were in for a really good segment, and to try and find out whether Roman was up to the challenge to be in that ring with Vince McMahon, one of the best heels, one of the best mouthpieces for professional wrestling of all time. And I thought that Roman did as well as he could do tonight. He's gotten a lot better. As you know, I've been a big critic of Roman Reigns. Sure. But I'm starting to find there's believability there, and I like how he plays with Vince. It's almost a humorous toy. He's going with his strengths instead of trying to be something that he's not, and that's how this segment played out for me with he and Reigns.
Definitely. What do you think, Bill?
Yeah, I think Reigns is just getting better and better, and the crowds are responding to him more and more positively, and I like to see that. But I think we should probably just move on to the rest of the segment before we.
I forgot just how long this segment was. So he says, "You know what? You're nothing but a rich snob." And Vince McMahon, without missing a beat, says, "I'm not a rich snob. I'm a freaking billionaire."
Yeah, that was a great line.
There's a little bit more back and forth, and then we get into a little history lesson with Vince. And it was great. It made things really personal. He starts talking about how he paid his uncles, were his uncles, the Wild Samoans?
Yeah, Alpha and Sika.
Yeah,
sure. He talked about how he owned Alpha.
Sure.
But more importantly, your father, Sika.
That's right.
And then he was really, and then there was one point where he said something about he said, one generation away from a bone through
the nose. And that's when everyone went...
Yeah.
Well, also him talking about owning his relatives.
There's also that.
The segment got pretty racist.
Yeah. It did. It got a little bit weird.
I actually had a conversation with a wrestling fan friend of mine yesterday, and it talked a lot about pushing that envelope and sort of being. That's what WWE used to do. You could still be PG and create an environment where really risque things are said and heat is built in that manner.
I believe that Vince McMahon being super racist and super entitled is a tremendous way to be a heel.
Yeah.
However, him being extremely racist, followed by him getting arrested and him and his daughter screaming police brutality in New York on today of all days. There's a distinction between pushing the envelope in the service of good healing, and being completely tone deaf and offending everyone for no good reason.
That's true. That is very true.
So I have some issues with how they handled it.
Right.
Like again, today of all days.
Am I missing the today of all days reference?
The Tamir Rice verdict came in
today.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. And sort of a segment that's like positioned to be played for laughs with someone being racist and being taken away by the cops. And
I think that I totally hear what you're saying. I think it was an oversight, if anything. Do you feel? Yeah. Well, for me, it's like we can never. WWE has always had a history of doing things that some people would consider lowbrow or distasteful.
Right.
I didn't find this segment to be on that level. I think that there was a few moments where, like I said, the bone through the nose, and there was these moments where you're like,
yeah.
But yeah, the police brutality stuff. Maybe you're right, actually, with that brutality stuff.
Yeah, like the bone through the nose thing, like that. Like I said, I think that line and him talking so negatively about Roman's family, that's in a vacuum. That's a way to play on lowbrow. That's a way to play up stereotypes in the service of I need to get you to hate. Like,
Right. And
like,
as long as
like the Hateful Eight just came out this week. Like
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino plays a lot in that vein of like there's a way to cast a racist person as a villain. very
exactly, and
effectively.
as long as there are consequences for it.
Absolutely, yeah. And
Yeah,
there
yeah,
were
yeah.
consequences to how Vince McMahon was behaving, and he got arrested, and like so.
Right.
And it's rare in WWE to see consequences for people's actions.
And his amazing mugshot afterwards.
The mugshot was
Mugshot
phenomenal.
was
We
great.
will get to that. But to get to the police involvement, Vince McMahon gets up in Roman Reigns' grill, as it were. We don't see a push, but we definitely see a fall.
Yeah.
And we hear Vince McMahon
My neck.
very,
my neck.
my neck.
Yeah.
We have Stephanie dashing out to ringside, threatening everyone in her field of vision with legal action.
Yeah.
We've got the police coming out, but then the police turn on the McMahons.
Yeah, which was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
I don't think anyone was expecting that.
Yeah, we
They
were all
say-
expecting Roman to walk out in handcuffs.
Right.
And the old, that old thing that, and
Exactly.
when it ended up being Vince.
And so, yeah, Stephanie is demanding that Roman Reigns be arrested. They get a little bit too handsy with the cops,
Sure
and
did.
Vince himself ends up going to the clink.
To the clink.
Let's get Nails in here.
In the
Nails
slammer.
Yeah.
with
Thankfully, they did not reenact the Mountie going to jail running gag.
Oh man.
Which was those interstitials were really good up until the last one.
Sure. And luckily they didn't reenact Vince's real history with Nails.
If you fans at home have never seen the Mountie getting fingerprinted at a
I
SummerSlam,
remember
The
that
best.
so vividly
super
now.
good,
Yeah.
super good.
That was the first time I had ever heard about fingerprinting.
Yeah.
So after
Before we move on,
yes, sir.
we've all seen Beyond the Mat, correct?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know how in Beyond the Mat, Cinca is like telling the story about how like he asked to go home to see his kid be born, and Vince McMahon was like, "No, you can't go," but he
Sika,
went anyway.
right? Sika?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then he got fired for going home to see his kid be born. Do you think that was Roman Reigns being born?
No, Roman isn't that young. Wait.
don't know.
Oh no, wait. Was he just telling a story about in the past?
Yeah.
In the
was in
movie?
Beyond the
Okay.
Mat.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the Beyond the Mat.
That might be on.
It could be.
Him or Rosie, right? Because Rosie's his brother.
Yeah. I know on the deleted scenes, Offit tells a weird story about his eyeball getting popped out and then popping it back in and having to pull his hair out from behind it. But that's neither here nor there.
Delicious.
Like Vader style?
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Except Vader didn't have hair.
Yeah. Exactly.
I was just on a side note. I was kind of excited to hear McMahon dropping Alpha and Sika's name. As
Exactly. Give
people
us a
who
little
are-
bit of context.
Yeah, and well, also just you and I are both in wrestling. You've been a wrestler for 15 years plus. Even when someone's dissing you in the ring, if they're talking about you, it's almost their way of kind of giving you a little shout out.
Sure,
I
sure.
think even Vince lives by that credo a little bit, and so to just drop their names on Raw, to give those some moments, because you always hear Rikishi,
Right.
and you always obviously hear about The Rock. But to give Off and Sika their little shout out tonight was cool to hear them on their names be mentioned on Raw.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
And those comments about, if you had come along a generation ago, that's like shockingly meta-referential for WWE. Like they don't do
100%.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like again in a vacuum, like that's really good and really effective. And also they downplayed Roman Reigns's Samoan heritage for so long, and some people were upset at that.
Right.
But I thought that did nothing but help him, because for so long in WWE, forever until Roman Reigns came along, athletes have only been tied to who they are, who they present as.
Right, exactly.
And for Roman Reigns to just be a person is a huge breakthrough for WWE.
Right.
And now that he's established himself as Roman Reigns, to now bring his heritage into it is very clever and very crafty. Like I noticed just this last week on NXT, they finally succumbed to the natural athlete line with Jason Jordan.
Ooh, right.
Which they resisted for so long, and it's just a huge bummer.
Yeah.
Right.
He's getting the Shelton Benjamin.
and and speaking of NXT, not to go on too much of a tangent, but it is.
Well, you have to talk about cupcakes.
It is it is relevant. You mentioned that, and I remember feeling the same way when Asuka debuted,
Yeah.
and a lot of people were kind of confused that she didn't have sort of a very derivative sort of kind of theme song that she just had a normal theme song. And it's like she's not defined by the fact that she happens to be Japanese. She's defined by the fact that she kicks the shit out of people.
Amen.
And it's
she
just,
does.
it's just good to see things like Asuka and see things like Roman Reigns where it's like finally we can have people that the WWE cares about.
Sure.
And The Rock was like the first person that was like that, but he was still like he's a third generation wrestler.
Right.
He has this heritage built into him.
Right,
That's how they introduced him.
Yeah, and he was kind of it's interesting that you bring it up, but he was kind of the only one in the nation that wasn't really playing up sort of the militant angle. He was really just all about himself and only himself.
Yeah. With his Miami button-up shirts.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Oh man, that stuff was good.
Versace,
the golden
satin
lions
shirts.
everywhere. And,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Vince McMahon in jail, getting booked. We come back to Kevin Owens already in the ring. I know how we feel about the already in the ring entrances.
Jeez.
But out comes the Slammy award-winning breakout star of the year, Neville. We get a very, very quick match. Very quick match.
But also a very long package for Neville as presenting him as the superstar or the newcomer of the year, whatever the name of the award is. I thought that was incredibly appropriate and maybe a little late to be giving him that 2 minutes of just footage of him. I mean,
exactly.
How good is Neville? And then
phenomenal. Super
excited to see him and KO work together.
Sure.
Because they worked at PWG here in LA many times throughout the years, and these two of the best wrestlers in the ring in the world, two of the most entertaining physical wrestlers in the world, now doing it on the main stage.
Sure, excellent chemistry. But we don't get to see a classic between them.
Nope.
We see Neville with a big kick right off the bat, goes up for the red arrow. Owens moves, goes for a big pop-up powerbomb. I thought this was going to be it. I thought it was going to be a one and done for Owens. Neville turns it into a big, kind of like a prawn hold, maybe an O'Connor roll, sort of sorts. Gets the 3 in maybe 15, 20 seconds. And then the wrecking starts.
Death becomes him.
And then we see Kevin Owens just absolutely demolishing the man that gravity forgot.
Yeah, I thought that this was obviously a huge show for Kevin Owens overall, because Kevin Owens was all over this show and he looked like an absolute badass world destroyer.
Exactly.
The whole show. When the pin happened, Twitter was nothing but, well, Kevin Owens, I hope you like being buried. There you go. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But nothing could be further from the truth. This was good for both Neville and Owens.
Exactly.
It's good for Neville. He gets the awesome video package. He gets the fluke win. And I think that the fluke win and the video packages is largely a reaction from WWE being surprised that he won Breakout Star of the Year.
Yeah.
So he gets the fluke win, so he gets the win on paper, he gets to look good, he gets the awesome package, but then Kevin Owens just wrecks him for the audacity of winning a match.
Right.
So great, and then even better later when he came out and wrecked Dean Ambrose.
Oh, sure.
Nothing but good things for Kevin Owens in this episode.
Well, and it's like you said, we've been hearing rumors and we've been hearing rumblings about a potential Owens versus Lesnar match at WrestleMania 32. And if that is going to have any chance of happening or being believable, this is what has to happen. Yeah. You have to book Kevin Owens as a world destroyer from now up until Mania.
Yeah.
True that.
And this is a good way to set the ball in motion of, like, if he challenges Dean for the Intercontinental title and maybe doesn't get it back, but still wrecks him, and then continues to go on this tear of, like, the title doesn't matter to me anymore. Now I'm about hurting people.
Exactly.
And then who do you get to put against Owens to try and stop him? The Beast.
Sure.
And the one thing that I've always loved about Kevin Owens, and I've always loved about Kevin Steen too, his whole persona is that of all the faces hate him and all the heels hate him.
Yeah.
Because he's just Kevin Owens.
Right.
He is that a-hole.
Right, exactly.
That nobody wants to be on his side.
Right.
And he's fine with that.
He's the guy that makes Neville say, "Whatever, Kevin.
Whatever, Kevin."
That was one of my favorite lines of the whole year.
So great.
Just such a put upon.
Could you imagine if in sort of a kayfabe, not kayfabe way, actually, like a meta way, where Vince puts them together as a booker, and it's almost, he sits back and says, who earns the match with Lesnar? Because I could totally see Dean Ambrose go against Lesnar too, in whatever capacity. Yeah. And I think that match would be awesome. I mean, talk about the two toughest dudes who really just look like they'll beat your ass any day of the week
exactly.
in WWE. And then and then Lesnar waiting there, the ultimate toughest guy.
Right.
So
The final boss.
The final boss.
Right.
Mega
right.
boss. Yeah.
Exactly.
So that would be cool.
Imagine Kevin Owens and Paul Heyman promos.
Oh man.
How good those would be.
Absolutely.
So excited.
There would be so many dimensions to this program that would just make for must-see TV.
I hope this doesn't end up just being.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So speaking of the unstable one, he comes out to make the save. Owens bails over the barricade, hightails it out of there. But as you said, this will not be the last time we see Kevin Owens. Move on. We get a little video package of John Cena on the Today Show, kicking it with Al Roker. You know, all those guys. We get a little bit of The Rock announcing his involvement with WrestleMania 32 in Dallas. He had been kind of, faving people a little bit here and there, saying, "Oh, I'm not going to be there, not going to be there." Turns out the People's Champ will be in Dallas.
Yes, he will.
Not sure in what
place?
capacity, but whether he's going to have a match, probably not.
Sure.
But he'll still be there.
Yeah, what better place too? I mean, they're expecting 100,000 people. They're expecting to break WrestleMania records, and The Rock is the man for that job to make that crowd feel him. He's the one guy that no matter how many times he leaves for 9 months, he comes back, he gets the biggest pop of the night. He's there's something about him that just wrestling fans of if you're a John Cena hater or a John Cena lover, both of those sides usually like The Rock. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So different wrestling fans all come into one, agreeing on one thing. And I think The Rock, I can't wait to see what he'll do at WrestleMania. I think it'll be phenomenal. And it would be really cool if maybe they did it where he came in a little early, not necessarily in a wrestling capacity, but built his appearance there, and then maybe had some sort of blow-off type of thing there. I don't know what it would be. So
Yeah, exactly. We get a little bit of a recap of SmackDown last week. We see Charlotte versus Brie Bella. Team Bad hits the ring in full Christmas getup, spills some eggnog on Becky Lynch, and everyone's mad at Charlotte for not being distracted by that.
yeah,
She concentrates on the task at hand. She makes Brie tap out in a very weird way to the figure eight, and then kind of chuckles at Becky's misfortune.
So I have to say something for full disclosure.
Yes, sir.
I missed this segment.
Okay.
But based on what you just said, and that's where I'm going to take it off of, that sounds kind of like bullshit to me.
Right.
Like why are the divas coming out in mother-loving Christmas gear?
Right.
So
Well, that was on the Super SmackDown, right? That
Yeah,
was a
Super
recap of
SmackDown.
it was just so it wasn't on Raw.
No.
But I mean, regardless, right? We're pushing a division of women wrestling,
Right.
And was it the kind of like Mrs. Claus?
It wasn't,
No,
it wasn't
no,
like that.
none of that?
No,
It
Okay.
seemed
It
a
was
little more
because Team Bad's doing the New Day sort of thing,
Where
it's
they're
like
just kinda
they're
having
just being
fun.
personalities and
Okay.
they're being obnoxious.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't.
Yeah,
It wasn't
yeah.
the sexy Santa's helper.
Okay,
Sure,
That's
sure.
that's the image that popped
No,
in my
no,
mind.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, no.
Where it's like you have 2 or 3 badass women wrestlers about to go through that curtain. You go, hey, throw these Christmas hats on.
Right.
I'm not.
Although
feeling
to
that.
be fair, Charlotte was wearing some Christmas-inspired gear. What it looked like.
Right.
I'm not mad at Christmas. It was if that was the thing.
Sure.
A Christmas match or whatever the hell.
Right. No.
Like
No,
let
it
them
wasn't
be
that,
women's
luckily.
wrestlers. That's what they are right now.
It
you know
wasn't
what I
like a Santa's Little Helper Battle Royal or anything.
Yeah.
No, it was the same thing as like Team Bad came out tonight and they were obnoxious and they
And
so
so
they were
they
Patriots fans.
So they came out.
Oh, yeah.
They came out, poured eggnog on Becky Lynch. Charlotte decided not to be distracted, threw the figure eight onto Brie Bella, won the match, and now everyone's mad at Charlotte for not rescuing her
Got it.
friend,
Okay, yeah.
not pulling herself away from the match and rescuing her friend.
Which is another fun way of subverting this trope because
Yeah.
WWE knows exactly what they're doing. They know exactly how fans are reacting to things. So it's nice little nod. Like
Right.
I'm enjoying so far how this Charlotte Becky breakup's going.
Sure. So
And
after
Charlotte
that,
was not in the house tonight because they had a split roster tonight.
yeah, she was in Allentown at a live event, home of Billy Kidman. We all love Kidman.
With the knowledge.
You can never powerbomb Kidman. He'll always
No,
hit you
sir.
with that face buster.
Certainly
Yeah.
cannot.
Deep cuts tonight, y'all. Watch Saturday night. We've got JoJo backstage with Becky Lynch talking about the fact that Charlotte is not there, and Becky says, "You know what? I don't have a gang behind me, but I have a goal in front of me." And she cuts a nice promo. She cuts a really good promo. She almost spouts out a little bit of a Conor McGregor line where she says, "I'm not here to blend in. I'm here to stand out." And so it was good. It was the kind of fire that we need to see from Becky. Now we'll get into this a little later with the match, but it seems like they're building this underdog story, and obviously we've seen that work before. We've seen that work with Daniel Bryan, and we've seen it work with Bayley and Sami Zayn down in NXT. Do we think it'll work with Becky Lynch?
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Like the twin slow burns of Sasha and Becky are gonna do nothing but good things for them.
Sure.
Especially especially with Sasha, but Becky's amazing, and we're about to get into the match, but both of them. Both Sasha and Becky, I think, have the two best themes in the WWE right now.
They absolutely do.
So good. They're both so good.
Wale just remixed Sasha Banks' theme.
He sure did.
Yeah, good stuff.
Wale.
But anyway, yes, we've got these dueling amazing theme songs. Next, in a one-on-one encounter, Sasha Banks out on the mic. For once, she doesn't usually get to get mic time during the entrance, but she does some classic old school running down the local sports team.
Yep.
Nice.
But it goes a little bit beyond cheap heat when you're invoking the Patriots.
Also true.
Yeah, that's pretty universal. Like that's pretty
New York versus
heelish.
Boston is pretty. Yeah. It reminds me of when CM Punk called John Cena the New York Yankees, and it was enough to make him deck him on the spot.
Yeah.
That was, even as a non-sports fan, I felt that. I felt the
and then later when Punk turned it even further by doing the pinstripes gear.
Oh yeah,
really good stuff.
Absolutely. So much good stuff.
Yeah.
So we've got
R.I.P. CM Punk.
R.I.P. We'll never forget.
By the way, there was a chant for like 45 seconds at the beginning of the show. That opening segment dragged a little bit.
2014 all over again.
They were CM Punking all around New York on Raw.
I feel like this was a pretty bad crowd tonight.
Yeah, it was. It was.
They didn't hold up to that New York reputation that they've built over the years.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And Daniel Bryan chants for no reason.
Right.
And then the are we going to get into the women's match right now?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So Becky and Sasha had a match, and there was a boring chant halfway through a really good match.
Yeah.
And just at that point, I'm like, this crowd.
Right, exactly. And it was a great match. I started to feel a little bit like they might have been given too much time. For there did seem to be a little a couple lulls in the match, but the high spots were very, very high. We see a dive off the top to the outside onto all of Team Bad from Becky Lynch. We see some amazing technical wrestling with a rolling leg lock. We even see a top rope variant of Sasha Banks' double knees in the corner.
You can just tell when you talk how much you love wrestling. and not talking about wrestling. You just love wrestling.
Sure.
And I love that about you because that charisma comes through. And the best in the business love wrestling as much as Ty. And by the way, the perfect segue is Sasha Banks loves wrestling.
She absolutely, you can tell for sure.
This is why you see technical prowess in the ring. This is why you see Sasha do things and try things that others haven't done and tried. Right. And you also see the way she sells and the way she moves and the way she walks and everything. I mean, that's why Sasha is 16 years old or whatever she is and on top of the world, right? Because she gets there quickly because of how much she loves it.
Exactly.
And we're now in an era where a lot of WWE superstars love wrestling again. A lot of guys on their current roster love wrestling,
right?
And it's starting to show, in a good way.
And we've seen so many people become cynical and jaded by wrestling. It's great to see genuine fans involved again.
Yes.
Now we see a great little finishing sequence at the end of this match. We see a little bit of interference from Team Bad. We see Sasha Banks go for the bank statement, reversal into a pin. Becky goes for the disarmer, gets rolled up for the 1-2-3. Yeah. And so once again, a case of always a bridesmaid, never the bride.
No.
Poor Becky.
Yeah.
But I do think, I never thought about it, but as you said, they are kind of these twin slow burns of Sasha and Becky. Yeah. And so I think when that blows up and becomes the feud that it could be, that'll be some really magical stuff.
Yeah, like in 2022 or whatever, taking so long. Right. Divas Revolution's 8 months old.
Oh, while we're talking about the one Divas segment that happened tonight, did you guys hear?
Only one.
Did you guys hear about Nikki Bella and what had caused her injury?
I did hear about.
Oh yeah,
that.
Yeah. I read a little something. Rack attack or something.
Yeah, the rack attack may have exacerbated or caused her neck injury.
Did you write that article?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
sorry.
I don't know. I thought I saw it.
I was not one of the 30 or 40 people that wrote about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Ryan Satin broke that bit of news, by the way, of Pro Wrestling Sheet.
Shout out to Ryan.
It was very interesting thinking about that because you never think about it.
So Nikki may be out another month, which is a bummer considering good for Nikki to get time off, good for any wrestler to get time off.
Right.
Sucks that it has to be because of an injury.
Right.
But I'm glad that wrestlers are in a position that they can actually take some time off and heal.
Yeah.
But it's crummy for her because of how far she had come and how much she has progressed and just she was on she was that heel hoss
Oh,
in the
absolutely.
division and just wrecking people.
Wrecking people left and right, for sure. And it's interesting that you say, because I feel like this is the first Raw in a while where they only had one Diva segment. And as I don't know if all of you seen, we were talking about this a little bit earlier, but WWE.com came out with the top 25 matches of 2015, and number two was Bayley versus Sasha Banks from Takeover Brooklyn.
Extremely cool to see
in
that.
in the very same arena that we're in tonight for Raw. And
Not as good a crowd, but-
right? Not as good. But it was absolutely, and a lot of matches in that top 25, from Sasha defending the title against Becky Lynch to the 4-way at Rival, I believe it was.
Was the Iron Woman in there?
It was, yeah. And so a lot of Divas matches in the top 25, which is a great thing to see. Obviously, progress, as we all like to see.
That's terrific.
Moving on, we get to see that very overproduced mugshot of Vince McMahon that we loved so much.
Oh, such a great photo. Perfectly lit.
Did not realize the NYPD were using DSLRs.
Yes.
But they've really stepped their photography game up.
They have.
They've got a green screen. They've got a backdrop. And we find out from Renee Young that Vince McMahon has been booked on...
Renee Young, who's outside the local police
It's
station.
outside a local police station. He's been booked on possible charges of resisting arrest and assaulting an officer. So more on that as it develops. And we go to the New Day, one of our favorite segments of every episode. We see the New Day, and they say, this is where our trombone made its debut. Back in the summer, back when they sang that song that shall not be named. That's when the New Day really, really went nuclear. But because nobody in the arena voted for them for Tag Team of the Year, Francesca, as we found out the trombone was named, decided that they do not deserve a song. And we just get so many magic moments. We get Kofi threatening to fight your children. He says if they're acting up and if they need discipline, I will fight them.
Yeah. Kofi's had the best one-liners for me over the last several
Right,
weeks with the
right.
things that he pulls out of his butt. I'm like, what are you talking about?
But I mean, we could go on for days like we do every week about how much magic the New Day is. So moving on, we've got Kofi Kingston taking on Kalisto one-on-one. It's exactly as fast-paced and exactly as all over the place as you think it is. We've got a little bit of interference from Xavier Woods. We've got Sin Cara kind of evening the odds, but we get a Rana and a roll-up for the win from Kalisto.
Another roll-up on the show.
Right, but that is not the end of these two teams' involvement tonight.
Not at all.
Because Xavier Woods gets on the mic and he is furious. He says that Sin Cara should be ashamed of himself for cheating. He says that you're a role model. How could you do that? And he says, you know what? Payback is a big E is in this match tonight. He's your opponent.
Yeah, I like that. He took his shirt off to
Exactly.
Yeah, he was pissed.
to run down Sin Cara and then tell him he was fighting Big E.
Yeah.
And
Right.
then Big E and Sin Cara had a match, and Sin Cara may have gotten completely wrecked.
Oh man, let's talk about this. So at one point, Sin Cara, big up and over the ropes, lands on the apron, and Big E just yanks his ankles out from under him, yanks the rug out from under him. Sin Cara takes a nasty bump on the outside, and may or may not have legitimately wrecked his shoulder.
It was a big night for really nasty bumps.
Sure,
Yeah, it was.
sure.
Yeah.
We saw a few, absolutely. And so they seem to work around it as best they could. Big E eventually gets the win with the big ending, but it looks like it might have been a legitimate tweak of the shoulder.
Sin Cara was being helped by a couple officials
Sure.
after the match.
Sure. So hopefully, nothing too
hang in
serious.
there, Sin Cara. Hopefully you're not injured.
We always,
Pobrecito Sin Cara.
Yeah, God knows WWE doesn't need another injury.
right, exactly. And another Sin
Seriously.
Cara injury at
Or
that.
another Sin Cara.
Yeah.
Well, no, this is a good question actually. So worst case scenario, God forbid Sin Cara is injured.
Right.
Who is Sin Cara 3? Who would you?
Ty Matthews.
I mean,
Duh.
I'm
Ty Matthews might be a little tall.
a little bit. And I don't do, even though Jesse Hernandez did train me in the art of lucha libre, I don't remember too much about it.
Can you do a Cazadora?
I could.
That's all you need.
That's it. That's all you need.
Cazadora plancha. That's it.
I mean, it could be La Sombra, maybe. I'm not too familiar with this stuff.
That would be
but
such a bummer.
All of a sudden, he's just
What
not
a
tattooed anymore.
bummer.
Right.
Oh, La Sombra. Get it.
His name would be Sin Tattoo from that point on.
Yeah, congratulations, La Sombra. You get to be the third in the line of a cursed superstar.
let's
It'd be
burn-
awesome if it was like Bull Dempsey.
Let's
Oh yes, yes. Now
And
we're
if he's
now we're
like,
on the
no,
case.
I am Sin Cara. With like his hair coming out of the mask.
That
and
was him the
stuff.
whole time.
Like with
Forever.
the Sin Cara mask, but the Bull Dempsey singlet.
Exactly. So after that possibly scary moment, we get Miz TV, and
So good.
We get just a cavalcade of stars, is what it is, really.
Yeah.
We get Miz coming out, and he wants to reminisce about the year, but nobody will let him. We've got Ryback coming out first, and in an ironic little moment, he says the WWE universe doesn't care about the past, which I found to be hilarious.
Yes.
For a place that loves putting over the past, over the present, and
So
the future.
much. Where they're chanting
so
CM
many
Punk.
times.
It's really a very like Gordian knot of a comment,
Sure.
because they're really stuck in the Attitude Era,
Right.
and stars of that era, but they also hate to acknowledge history between people and
also
results
true.
of matches.
Sure.
So I'm not sure what like.
That is, yeah.
There's just so much to unpack in that one sentence.
We could do a whole AfterBuzz just on that
Yeah.
one throwaway line in that promo.
Yeah, for sure.
But Ryback comes out. Next, we've got the bizarre one, Gold Dust.
Awesome, like skull
He's
aspect.
Yeah,
got
he looked
some
cool in that.
awesome
The paint was great.
He
Yeah.
says, this may not be your year to win an Oscar, but this may be your year to win some Golden Globes, which is just a throwback to the
Little throwback,
96
yeah.
era Gold
I
Dust.
think
The
Goldust was. I think Goldust was offering to put his balls in his mouth.
Yeah.
I think that might be what he was saying.
Okay.
That's the
That was
Gold
what he
Dust that
said.
my parents hated.
Yeah.
The one that kissed Ahmed Johnson.
Yeah.
And thank goodness we don't have any. Thank goodness we haven't had a gay panic character in a really
Sure,
long time
sure.
on WWE.
Just flipping out. Next, we've got Zack Ryder saying, you know what, this is going to be my year, which is also hilarious.
Not true.
But then we've got R-Truth delivering another gold moment. See, R-Truth won last week the LOL moment of the year for thinking that he was involved in the Money in the Bank match. But now he's out to tell everyone, everyone's eligible for Superstar of the Year, so vote for me.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that not only were the Slammies last week, he also won one.
And he presented one.
And he presented one.
Yeah, you could take R-Truth off TV for
Yeah.
6-8 weeks and put him on for 3 minutes.
Sure.
and he's entertaining as
That's
hell.
what
I
was
love him.
so good about this segment is like it was so great to see all of these mid carders, all of whom are phenomenal.
Sure.
And it's clear that WWE even though so many of them are not on TV every week, WWE clearly understands the value in all of these people and understands that every single one of them is capable of just being lights out in like 10 or 15 seconds that they have on television.
Right. They've got more talent than they know what to do with, which is a blessing and a curse.
Yes, it is.
Split the rosters.
Exactly. And so next we've got the one-man band, Heath Slater, and we all do a big happy dance, but he barely gets 2 words out, and then we get the big show. The big show. He comes out and just starts trouncing everyone, knocking Heath Slater out with the WMD, clotheslining people over the top. R-Truth
attempts to knock himself out.
attempts to give himself a knockout punch and then look to see if it worked. And then poor guy gets a chokeslam for his efforts anyway. And then we get that big behemoth face-off between Show and Ryback, and we lead right into our next segment. But also not before the Show announces himself for the 2016 Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
He says he's going to enter number 1, beat everybody.
Yep.
Go to WrestleMania, win the title, and then stick it up every fan's butt.
Yeah. January
Which is gonna
happens to
take a
be
long
one of my
time.
personal favorite
yeah.
months
Oh,
of the
me
year.
too. Definitely.
It's the beginning of the road to WrestleMania, but then you also have this every week this announcement of why the Royal Rumble match itself is going to be special. Who's going to be first? Oh, that's interesting. Who's going to be last? Sometimes they don't
Who's gonna
tell
come
you
back?
who's going to come back. And there's so much speculation that can be done in January that's going to set us up for a great card in March that this ends up being my favorite month. And actually, adversely, I'd say February and somewhat of March is less valuable now
Right.
because they've taken the Rumble winner now and kind of made it less relevant. But I
Right.
still buy everything in January mentally. I'm like, this is the guy that's over in Royal Royal Rumble, that's the guy I want to follow.
Exactly.
Even when Bautista or Roman Reigns was there, you still wanted to know. It was still compelling that the fans didn't like those guys, that they didn't accept them.
The absolute best time of the year to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No question. I am still sad that, because I actually really, really did love having Elimination Chamber be the gap between Rumble and Mania, and I'm sad that it is no longer in that position on the calendar. But last year actually Fastlane, Reigns and Bryan had one of the best matches of the year.
Really good.
So
also made that top 25 list we were talking about.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So best time of the year to be a wrestling fan. Super excited about the road to WrestleMania and super excited about the Royal Rumble.
Right. So we get a one-on-one encounter between the Big Show and Ryback.
We've waited months to see this.
We've been eagerly awaiting with bated breath
ever since their Intercontinental title three-way feud with The Miz.
We've been waiting since Tough Enough to see these two guys.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's a good reference.
Deep cuts for Jimbo. We get, it's as hard hitting as everyone expects it to be. It ends with Ryback going for the meat hook. Big Show hightailing it, taking the count-out loss. And
as he do.
Yeah. Do we think that this is leading into bigger territory for Show versus Ryback?
Maybe, but I think that overall it just served a really good purpose of, like, one, getting all of these awesome mid-carders a chance to be on the show.
That part was awesome.
And two, reminding people Royal Rumble's coming. There's going to be a ton of people in a ring. Big Show's always a threat.
Right.
Because he did win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
He did. I think everyone was really expecting Miz Dow to win.
But I'm happy for Big Show. And, and honestly, like, those that month after WrestleMania, like,
I did retire months.
No, well, I mean, maybe, but I did really enjoy him, like, posing next to the trophy every week.
And the thing with Big Show winning that is, like, for as much as they talk up Big Show being a threat in battle royals, he hardly ever wins one. It's kind of like Kofi with ladder matches.
Right.
For as much of a specialist as he is, he's never really won one. And so, just like when Kofi won by grabbing the belt at TLC, it was admittedly nice to see that moment.
Sure.
Now, this may be controversial, but I do believe that, like, as far as, like, a combination of, like, mic work, charisma, and especially in-ring ability, Big Show's far and away the greatest giant in history. Like, he'll never have that thing that Andre had, but as far as a total package, like...
Sure.
And he's been wrestling for 21 years now.
Right.
So if anyone, like, deserves, like, accolades at this point, I mean, it's Big Show.
If you want a treat, go find the match between Big Show and Kane. I believe it's from 2005 on Raw, where they just decided on a whim that they wanted to have a technical wrestling match. Yeah. And it's really fun to watch.
It exists?
There's a ton of hold-to-hold, almost exclusively hold-to-hold.
Really?
It's pretty interesting to watch.
That's cool.
There's also on the... if you don't own it or if you haven't seen it yet, the Daniel Bryan Just Say Yes, Yes, Yes DVD set is really great, and there's a match between him and Big Show on there that's really good. And
I think I remember that.
Daniel Bryan talked about how Big Show is always one of his favorite people to go up against.
Definitely. We've got 6-man tag team action. It's a tag team match, playa.
Teddy Long.
Had to get some Teddy in there before the end of the show. We got Dean Ambrose and the Usos taking on 3/4 of the League of Nations. Yep. And, the League of Nations, they come out and they dedicate the match to Vince McMahon. They say he's given you countless hours of entertainment, and they say that they will put a beating on Dean and the Usos. Yeah. And we get some good stuff. We get some pretty good 6-man action.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, these are the young guys in the WWE. These are to me the trailblazers of what 2015 has been defined by, which is allowing guys to be themselves finally. And they can wrestle. It's no joke.
Exactly.
Everybody in that match knows how to wrestle. It's not a matter of what they're better at. They're pretty damn good at both.
Sure.
And the match proved it.
Yeah. And when all is said and done, Sheamus hits a brogue kick for the victory. But what leaves more of an impression is what happens after the match. Yep. Camera lingers just a little bit too long on Dean Ambrose afterwards, and then we see why. Because Kevin Owens is back, y'all, and he is not messing around.
No.
He just starts...
He really tonight, he brought no chill to the arena whatsoever.
No chill. Zero chill.
Yeah, there was a lack of chill from Kevin. I would ask him to try and bring more chill next time.
Kevin, chill.
Everyone that was in his path is dead now, and obviously, I'm joking. But really, though, there was destruction in front of Kevin Owens today.
So, yes, speaking of which, we see Owens just demolishing Dean Ambrose, even. power bombs him through a table. And it's been a while since we've seen a classic power bomb through the announce table.
Wasn't it good too?
And then
just so great.
Yeah,
Great
you
camera
were commenting on the.
Killed it.
I mean, they had taken that camera and just placed it right
and
at
then
the
I
edge
think
of the,
the
table.
edge knocked the camera up.
And it was just there was so much impact in that shot.
Right.
We're gonna view that again and again and again on
So
recaps.
many times.
Yeah, that was a great
And
power bomb.
Dean had to get helped away. Still
And
not like Vince McMahon taking a stunner.
That sell by Dean Ambrose, that was a bold choice. Bold choice,
Yeah.
dude.
But just again, amazing to see Owens wreck shop, and he really looked like a monster.
Exactly.
And he got a lot of lingering shots of him taking legitimate
and
satisfaction.
that look on his face, just cathartic and therapeutic.
Like the old Bubba Ray Dudley ecstasy look.
Exactly. But with less of the weird kind of
less
gross
weird,
overtones. Now it's time for our main event, and the champ, the challenger, but the champ is here.
Yes.
We got Big Match John.
John Cena is back, y'all.
He's back. Grabs that mic.
His name is John Cena.
He says, we got a U.S. challenge on our hands, but the U.S. champion is Alberto Del Rio. And, Cena doesn't remember him defending it on Raw. And so, he talks a lot about himself and about his own U.S. challenge and kind of how he brought prestige to the title.
Oh, he talked a lot about himself?
A little
That's
bit,
weird, yeah.
just a little bit. It was weird.
It's been a while.
Strange.
But this brings ADR and the rest of the League of Nations out. They have a big back and forth. Cena drops the punk bitch card, so shit's on.
Yeah.
But
he does the thing where a face tries to trick a heel into putting his title on the line.
Right, and ADR even calls it out by saying, "I know what you're trying to do, Juan Cena."
Yeah. Oh my God, Juan Cena
Juan
was my
Cena was
favorite
great.
line of the night.
So good.
But just such a good interaction between John and Alberto, and it really, as goofy as, Cena tricking him into putting his belt on the line was, great interaction. It was great passion on both sides, and it led to a good match.
Exactly. And so, we get a very good, very solid U.S. title match, back and forth. Little bit predictable that we see a DQ drawn by the League of Nations. But obviously, how else is Raw, the last Raw of the year, going to end but with a schmaz? We get the League of Nations ganging up on Cena. This brings out the Usos. And of course, this brings out the Handsome Prince.
Just out of nowhere again.
Just once again, just like last week, phenomenal camera work.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns flying into frame, spearing the living hell out of Rusev.
He literally looked like a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The way the framing was, he literally came in mid-frame and just took him out in midair.
Hits a big Superman punch on Sheamus as he's kind of leaning through the ropes. Just a lot happens,
and this brings out,
actually, you know what? There's a face-off between Reigns and Sheamus in the ring, hits that big Superman punch, starts going to town on with a chair.
Right.
But as you said, this brings out the boss, Vince McMahon.
We didn't even mention the hellacious ref bump in this match.
Oh yeah! Oh, I forgot about that.
And also the
really
hellacious bump off of an attitude adjustment from Sheamus.
It reminded me of the F5 to A Train. Ooh,
so bad.
But y'all find this match. Find the ref bump. The ref just flies almost out of frame.
Yeah,
it'll be memeified.
Yeah.
Bet you
for sure.
If it's not by now, Mustafa, I'm sure you got it.
Yeah, it's already on our feet.
Please, someone make Neil Stevenson blowing the ref across the ring.
So this brings out the boss, Vince McMahon. He's out of jail, and he has some parting words for our champion to send him off into 2016. He says, you know what, I'm going to sue the city of New York, and if I could, I would sue each and every one of you. Almost 16,000 separate lawsuits. He's not afraid of it.
He could do it.
Just like Big Show would personally shove the belt up everyone's butt, he would sue.
Everyone gets a turn.
Sue everyone. And he says, you know what, next week, we've got a championship match. Roman Reigns will defend the World Heavyweight Championship against Sheamus, and that match has a special referee, and his name is Vincent Kennedy McMahon. And we send the show off, the final Raw of 2015, with Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
I mean, just
how many times did he say it?
So many. And by the third time, I was like, please just let the show end with him saying it. And from my mouth to God's ears, thank God it ended exactly that way. Not only that, but we got a little bit of a group taunt now with the League of Nations.
When they were doing
almost like the wave. It's almost like the wave. Oh man,
Really an entertaining Raw, man.
What a Raw, guys.
Started off on a really shaky
weird note,
opening segment,
but you know, it found its footing like many Raws do.
Yeah, and next week we get to see Vince McMahon wearing the stripes. And
Yeah, we do.
How cool is that?
Just busting out of them, jacked.
Super jacked.
Yeah, we haven't seen him with his shirt off in a while.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? Not since the cover of Muscle and
Right.
Fitness.
Yeah.
But y'all, what a Raw to end of the year.
Really good Raw.
What, God, it's, for me personally, it's been a fantastic run getting to host AfterBuzz for these last 7 months. Looking forward to doing it more in the future. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Put yourselves over. Christian.
Yeah, Christian Cole. Find me on all the social mediums and go for Paragon Pro Wrestling and follow them too. It's a great up-and-coming professional wrestling national television show. Shout out to Jared Gannam who produces that show. The editing, the segments, the way the storytelling develops. Really good show.
Guys, support indie wrestling. Watch Paragon Pro Wrestling. Bill Hanstock.
Bill Hanstock, you can follow me on Twitter at Sunday Motel. Check out cagesightseats.com, sbnation.com/wrestling, and check out my weekly pro wrestling podcast, Rudo Radio.
Absolutely. And as always, you can find me on Twitter, on Instagram at Ty Matthews PMA. You can watch me every week, Saturdays at 4 p.m. on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, KDOC locally.
You did really good.
YouTube American nationally. Thank you so much. Thank you. These guys did amazing. You guys did amazing. Thank you so much to all of the amazing guest hosts we've had. Carlo Cannon, Rocky Romero, Eddie Pence, Eddie Firth, Bobby Ramos, all the old classics like Dale Rutledge and Showtime Josh and Shane
Gorilla
Hartline.
Monsoon.
And all of our favorite co-hosts and all of our guests. And you guys keep watching, keep tweeting us, keep talking in the chat roll, all of that stuff. We love you guys, and we will see you in 2016.
Kick-ass job, dude.
Peace.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year! Happy New Year!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.